This is passage 4. It's a data passage, ACT Science. So our DRC approach, D stands for data and don't read. You can get the questions quickly. You might want to orient yourself to the passage. And our approach to questions, R&R, read the questions, then reread, breaking it down step by step. All right, let's orient ourselves quickly to the passage. We're going to look at the italicized words, areas off the shoreline. They're looking at selenium and organic matter. Looks like the areas are marsh plains, lower marsh, and tidal flats. We have depth of the sediment and the average content. Figure 3, they're looking at the OMs, the organic matter, same areas, same depth. So really the only two differences between these two charts is one is looking at SE and one is looking at OM. Then we'll get straight to the questions. Based on figure 2, which of the following graphs best shows the content of the sediments taken from a depth of 7 centimeters? All right, so we're looking at 7 centimeters right there. We'll start with tidal flat. It looks like that's at an 0.7. So 0.7, the only one that has that one is choice C. So we can stop with tidal flat, 0.7. Answer is C. We didn't even have to check the others. Number 22, according to figure 3, the average OM contents, we're looking there, in percent by mass in the marsh plain and the lower marsh taken from a depth of 5 centimeters. So let's start with the marsh plain, and that's going to be at 24, so either H or J. We'll go to lower marsh, and that's going to be the square, and that's 12. So that means the answer has to be H. Number 23, according to figures 2 and 3, at any given depth, so any of the depths, what is the order of the 3 types of sediment according to SE content and OM content from least to greatest? So let's start with SE content, which is figure 2. And we're going to look at the one that's lowest, least to greatest, is going to start with tidal flats. And then it's going to move to lower marsh, and that's the only one that works. So tidal flat, lower marsh, we don't even have to check the other one. We already have our answer at D because none of the others are relevant because none of the others work. We can check the OM content if we want to, right? We can see it's in the same order, tidal flat, lower marsh, marsh plain, but we didn't need to. That's a surprisingly interesting shortcut question. So D. 24, according to figure 2, at which of the following depths was the average CE contents of the marsh plain sediment and the lower marsh closest? So when are these two sediment content averages closest together? What depth? And so we could process of eliminate, but it looks like we can also see right there. That's at about 17. That's definitely where it's closest. You might could go down to 20, but that's not an option. It looks like they're a little further apart at 20 anyway. So J, 17. According to figure 3, the average OM content of the lower marsh sediment was greatest at which depth? Okay, so we're looking at the square, and it's greatest at one of two places. It's either greatest here or here at the bottom, and actually slightly over this line, right? Slightly over that line. So the bottom is where it's the greatest, right? And so at what depth does that occur? At a depth of 20. Okay, so be really careful that you don't pick the average content. If you weren't paying attention, you might choose to be a little over 15, right? You might say, well, it's close to 15. That's not what it asks. It asks the depth, so depth of 20. So a lot of students missing this question. 26 is a suppose if Y question. You have to extrapolate or make some extensions. The core samples had included a sediment taken from a depth of 21 centimeters based on figure 2. So it's going to be just below the 20, right? Not far. The average SE content of the tidal flat at that depth, we're looking at the circle, will most likely have been. So if it continues along that path, right, we have 0.5, and then we're going to go to 0.6, 0.7. So it's going to be at least between 0.6 and 0.7. It's not going to change dramatically because we don't see any of the points changing dramatically. So between 0.65 and 0.75, either goes down slightly or up slightly. Either way, the answer is H. All of these questions were IOD questions. I actually thought the last question would have been a scientific investigation question, but they classified it as IOD. So if you struggled with any of these, it's not about the category, it's about how you approach the question. Reach out if you have any concerns or questions. And our silly joke is, what did the bog and the marsh say when they had a lot of work to do? They said, man, I'm swamped. That's a really dumb joke. All right, y'all have a good day.